What is going on, CUSE Nation? Welcome back to yet another edition of Bleed Orange. My name, Landon Cook, as always, alongside Lucas Tarquinio. And thank you for watching. Today, we'll be taking a preview look at Syracuse going to play Boston College Eagles. Homecoming this afternoon in the Loud House. How are you doing, Lucas?
I'm doing well, and homecoming. Eric Dungy's going to be there. It's going to be different for him, probably.
It is. Now, Eric Dungy's finally coming back to the Loud House after a long couple of years. He is finally coming back and visiting his home. Now, the Orange coming off a mile high, feel like they're $1,000,000 win over Virginia Tech. It was just a roller coaster of emotions. It was almost as if it took every bit of willpower and togetherness as a team, as a family, as Dino says, to come away with that victory. What do you think about that game down in Blacksburg?
Oh, well, Garrett Schrader played amazing. He had a lot of rushing touchdowns, just like 3 or 4. This team is great rallying behind. They didn't put their heads down and like, oh, we're gonna lose. We're down 2 scores with 5 minutes left. They didn't give up. So I love that about what they played, how they played last week. I love how they didn't put their heads down and they just kept fighting and fighting.
They really did. And Garrett Schrader, 410 total yards down in Blacksburg with 5 total touchdowns. That is some record numbers. It's just unbelievable with how great that the offense in general played in the second half of the game. Now, he stood in there in that winning touchdown pass and took one for the team. Now, Garrett Schrader got smoked in the ribs, and we weren't sure what his status was when we caught it. I was going nuts, but then I saw Garrett laying on the ground in pain, and we all wondered what was going on. And it just describes the toughness of Garrett Schrader. Him getting up like 2 minutes later and running around and plowing over his strength and conditioning coach and knocking him over on a chest bump. It really shows the adversity of a team and the adversity of Garrett Schrader in general. What did you think about that?
Garrett Schrader, I mean, when he not, like you said, when he was on the ground, I was jumping up and down when Damian Alford caught that ball. Jumping up and down, and then they show Garrett Schrader holding his right side of his ribs. I'm like, oh, no. And then they show the replay of him jumping on the strength and conditioning coach. I'm like, all right, he's fine. Now let's hold him on defense.
Yeah, it was an amazing series of events. I believe the Orange were down 2 scores with 2 minutes to go, right? They were down. We got the ball with 5 minutes to go, drove down the field, and we scored a touchdown with 2 minutes to go. So down 2 scores with 2.5 minutes to go. Like, that takes adversity to go through that. And it takes togetherness as a family to come away from one of the biggest advantages in college football, the Virginia Tech Hokies, and what their fans bring to their table in the 12th man there in that stadium. And it was just a togetherness, family win. And now we're moving on to Boston College. Now, there's a lot of questions about this Syracuse football team. Who is their wide receiver number 1? And now that Taj Harris is gone, it's been up in the air for a couple weeks now. Courtney Jackson, Damian Alford, who came up with that game-winning catch, and Anthony Quealy, who has really taken a step down as Courtney Jackson and Alford have really taken control over the last couple of games. But I'm interested to see who this wide receiver number 1 is. And as of right now, on your chart, where is wide receiver 1?
I love Anthony Quealy. He was the wide receiver 1 when Todd Harris left, but Courtney Jackson has been taking notice over Anthony Quealy, and I personally think Courtney Jackson is going to be their wide receiver 1.
Courtney Jackson. Interesting. And Damian Alford, where do you see him going the rest of this season?
He can probably make his way up to the wide receiver 1 spot, but
no doubt in my mind.
What was that?
No doubt in my mind. Yeah. Alfred
Yeah.
is a great athlete. He's a true freshman, though, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's
True.
6'6",
Yeah.
250, something like that. He's big. He can just jump over people. But
Yeah.
Courtney Jackson, if he doesn't show anything this week or next week, it's going to be Damian Alfred at the wide receiver 1 spot.
And a couple weeks ago, we were all saying, oh, Anthony Quealy, this, that. Anthony Quealy's the wide receiver number 1. He just took a major step down as soon as Taj Harris left. And Courtney Jackson, he's been getting a lot more targets, getting open more. But the one thing that he's been struggling with is drops. And you can't have drops, especially when you have a quarterback who's not the greatest at throwing the ball. When the ball gets to you, you have to catch it, even if it's in the vicinity of you. If it's a little behind you, if it's a little in front of you, if it's a little low, if it's a little high, you got to make those catches.
Yeah. Anthony Quealy is he's been dropping a lot of passes too.
Yeah.
But, they're going to have to work. They're going to have to work to catching these because these drops come on third downs usually. Like,
yeah,
we're fine with the drop on first down, but that's not good also. But the third down that you need the first down, you're wide open, you drop it, you can't have that.
You can't ever have that. Now, the Orange are 6.5-point favorites against Boston College here, and they're 7-1 against the spread this year. And I believe 5-0 with Schrader as the starting quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. They have not messed up. They have not covered the spread this whole entire year with Schrader at the quarterback position. Not that the spread matters, but the Orange are 6.5-point favorites. What is that to you? Saying the media is saying, oh wow, this Syracuse team finally might actually have a team, or might actually have a family, might actually have they might actually be on a roll for once here this season. What do you think about that?
Well, they might be starting a true freshman quarterback. That could, and he's inexperienced, which could also have an effect to that point favor to us. But if Syracuse, they have a better run stopping, they're a good defense. Like, they can stop them. And their offense, their only bad thing is passing and dropping the ball. They can work on their passing game. They'll be a really good offense.
Yeah. Now, Boston College, they're 4-3 on the season. They started off 4-0. They've lost 3 straight. And they have quarterback struggles. What does that say about a team like Boston College, who really fell off the wagon? They're going to keep trying, obviously. But what kind of morale does that take on your team to lose 3 straight after going 4-0, thinking you're going to be a top 15 team in the country, but then just falling totally off the wagons?
The quarter is probably, they're Phil Jerk. I don't know his last name. He got injured in week 2 with a right hand injury, and then their backup quarterback comes in, wins 2 games for them, and then he just falls apart. They've been falling apart, so they probably want to try something new with the true freshman quarterback.
Yeah, at the start of the season, they had Phil Jerkovac at the starting quarterback spot, but then things went south from there. Now their quarterback is Dennis Grusel, has really struggled the past couple of games, 0-3. And now you're looking at a true freshman for the Eagles who might actually make the start today. Emmett Moorhead, the true freshman. And you never want to put a true freshman in the Carrier Dome for his first start ever. Ever. That's a no-no.
Nope.
Ever. That's like a true freshman on Boston College making his first start ever and going down to Death Valley.
Yeah, that's
with a sold-out crowd.
That's a tough environment.
And I know you all are going to say in the comments like, oh, well, listen to this. You guys only get 40,000 at your best this season. That's the most attendance you've had so far this year. 40,000, 43,000 at the Clemson game. And Let me tell you, the power of 40,000 fans in the Carrier Dome sounds like 90,000.
Yeah.
Like it's loud. It gets rowdy in there, especially on third down. Every single person in the whole entire stadium. I don't care if you're 95 years old. We don't care if you're 20 years old. We don't care if you're 3 years old. You're going to be standing on the bleachers, pounding those seats and yelling and screaming as loud as you can to the point where there's no communication possible and you have to use signs to call your plays. That's our goal in the Carrier Dome.
Yeah. If you try an audible and you say, like, you call a different play, you call it off, they might not hear it because how loud it is. And all that could affect false starts and miscommunication.
The Dome is such a great advantage, especially because of this young defense. They really have fed off of this offense so far this year. And yes, they did let up 36 points against Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. They let up, let's see, how much did they let up in Florida State? Oh, they let up 33 points in Florida State. Now, think about that. In 2 games, they let up 36 and 33 points. 69 points in 2 games. And the Orange at home let up 17 to Clemson, 17 to Rutgers, and 24 to Albany with a backup defense at the end of the game. And then 40 to Wake Forest, right?
Yeah, 40.
In overtime.
Yeah.
So the defense statistically plays 10 times better in the Loud House. And the offense actually plays better on the road. You know, you wouldn't think so, but Schrader on the road is what 1-1 and has scored a total of 71 points.
Yeah, almost
in
10
games.
Touchdowns for him.
And what? How many touchdowns? I don't even know. But the Orange's offense, it's really an advantage in the Dome. There's no noise whatsoever. I can't wait to see Schrader at his peak in the Dome on homecoming today. It's going to be very exciting. But Boston College has a lot to worry about with the quarterback position. Phil Jerkovic is out for the season. It's either Dennis Grusel or Emmett Moorhead, the true freshman. My point is, and our point is, starting a true freshman in the Carrier Dome for the first start ever is never a good idea.
Never.
Now, Sean Tucker surpassing 1,000 rushing yards on the season down in Blacksburg last Saturday. Statistically now the best running back in the nation. What do you have to say about that, Lucas? What do you think about number 34, who may be wearing this number next year?
He should be not. No, I'm not being biased, but he should be winning Heisman.
He should. I mean,
he rushes over 100 yards every game, pretty much.
If you're choosing a running back, it's got to be Sean Tucker. So if they're not going for a quarterback this year, because I don't think there's a quarterback besides maybe Bryce Young who deserves the Heisman. They're going to go to a running back, and that running back is Sean Tucker. Keep going.
Tucker. And Sean Tucker, if he rushes to over 100 yards per game, he's hard to stop. He's hard to take down. His 5'10" body, you think he would be easy to take down, but he's pretty hard to take down.
He really is. Sean Tucker's a menace. Really, really strong running back and fights for yards. The thing about Sean Tucker is the yards that are for a loss of, say, 4 yards, he gets a yard out of it. It's the little runs, what Dino Baber says, is what really matters. And Sean Tucker capitalizes on every single one of those statistics. Every single one of those losses for -4 yards turn into +1 yards. And that's what really makes him really good and puts us in the opportunities to win. What do you think about that?
He usually gets stopped in the backfield, but he still manages to gain a couple yards out of it, which is really good for him. But when you don't have a good O-line, you gotta, that's gonna happen a lot.
Now, run blocking for the Syracuse Orange team is better than the pass blocking. This pass blocking for the Orange, if Boston College has any sort of pressure, they're going to put they're going to push Schrader to the left or to the right or backwards or straight forwards. There's no staying in the pocket for more than 2 seconds when you have a rush coming in on you, especially with a good defensive line. If Boston College can get pressure on Schrader, they will have a great opportunity to win this football game. Now it's time for our prediction. Now, the Orange, 4-4 on the season. They've really been playing well as of late, although they have lost a couple games to really close games. I believe the Orange will take the victory today in the Loud House in a close one in a Northeastern old-fashioned rivalry against the Eagles. 30 Syracuse, 27 Boston College in the final moments, and Andre Schmidt will get his confidence back. I guarantee you that. What do you think, Lucas? What is your score prediction for this one?
I have Syracuse. They don't score a lot of points in the Dome. I don't know why, but I have them winning 20-14.
20-14. You think they're going to hold Boston College to 14 points in the Loud House? Not a tough task when you have 40,000 screaming like 80,000 in the Loud House. Thank you all for watching. Lucas, thank you for joining me.
Yep, thank you for having me.
We'll see you on the post game, everyone. And always remember, not just to make the Loud House loud tonight, this afternoon, as the Orange go on to face the Boston College Eagles in the Dome. Always remember, CUSE Nation. Let's go, Sarah. See you guys.
Let's go Orange.